with great expectations, we started the SAARC, and the SAARC summit took place in Dhaka in 1985. We are all involved there, and the first SAARC summit declaration was a good one. Now, unfortunately, to begin with, it was very slow, but then the conflict between India and Pakistan basically brought the whole thing to a stop. As for me, I'm not particularly optimistic about the future of SAARC, particularly because of the tension between Pakistan and India. And so long as Kashmir is there, I don't see any possibility of any cooling off between these two countries. And it seems to me today, I may be wrong tomorrow morning, but then Kashmir is going to be there for God knows how many years. So that's how I look at it, SAARC.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I mean, this is now dormant. There was a summit at the initiative of Prime Minister Modi during the COVID, but I feel that because Pakistan is also a nuclear power,
Both.
of course,
both.
India is both. So, I mean, it's very important that this kind of tension and stress in the relationship, it might, I mean, out of miscalculation, see, somebody might press a button, in an unstable world. So, the need to revive SAARC is very important, and I feel that we should, Bangladesh being given the relationship with India, should approach Prime Minister Modi to take another initiative to revive SAARC and have a meeting, because the beauty of SAARC is informal meeting between the heads of state and government. So if the Prime Minister of Pakistan and Prime Minister of India both meet during the retreat, I think there can be some progress to break this stalemate, because Kashmir will remain a long time, but it has to, we can see with Turkey, Erdogan has patched up relationship with Greece, and also Saudi Arabia with Turkey. So everybody is trying to patch a relationship at this time of COVID, post-COVID, and the Ukraine crisis.
Yes, you're right. There was a Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif and Bajpayee in the earlier days. They made some efforts. Then most recently, I think Prime Minister Modi stopped over in Lahore on the occasion of Mr. Prime Minister of Pakistan Nawaz Sharif's birthday. They're a bit of a surprise. But then the establishment, the army, is the most powerful body that determines the Pakistan politics and foreign policy of Pakistan. They didn't like it. A section of the army didn't like it. Now, as of now, Mr. Bajwa, General Bajwa rather, he wants the relationship with India to be separated, Kashmir to be separated from economic relationship. So I do not know, maybe there may be a possibility of some kind of a breakthrough, but breakthrough may not be, but then maybe some kind of opening. Yes, you are right. Now here, Rashed, may I start considering the time constraint? The BIMSTEC. What do you think about BIMSTEC?
BIMSTEC, because it's unique. You see, we have India, we have Sri Lanka, we have Thailand, two Buddhist majority countries, and Myanmar. So, I mean, that's one forum where all of us come together. And I think the potentialities of BIMSTEC have not been fully explored. Our diplomacy should be much more vigorous, to take advantage of this unique.
Very true. And we have noticed something, that India, as the regional superpower, they have taken a great deal of initiative to make sure that BIMSTEC succeeds. And even today that we are talking about BIMSTEC, New Delhi strongly believes that BIMSTEC is something that will succeed and we can make it succeed, because India's relationship with Myanmar is very good. They have a relationship at every possible level. You know that. Kaladan project, then armament, they are selling some arms to Myanmar, and business, of course, is prospering, and they have a huge border with Myanmar too. So let's hope that it does succeed. because we know that history shows that even if the two countries are at war, there may be some good amount of business going on. Even today, China and India, their business is all-time high. So that shows perhaps a sign of indication, some light at the end of the tunnel that there may be a better future for BIMSTEC than SAARC.
I agree with you because of the people-to-people contact. Even the Indian people, public opinion, they want the Chinese goods and things like that. And this conflict with China and India cannot be resolved militarily. See, the dragon and the elephant really have to, come to an understanding.
At the moment, it seems that neither India nor China is really ready to come to some rapprochement, because Chinese are rebuilding their facilities, their airfield, then they're building their little homes for the troops. They're getting more troops there. So the LAC is very active, as they say in the military term. It is an active place. So any minute it may flare up. So I'm a little less optimistic about an immediate movement for peace. But then one thing I'm sure about, that their business, trade and business is booming. This is something which we have to take into account, that perhaps the border situation may also simultaneously come a bit cooler.
What I feel, you're right, that if we want, China is already a superpower, India is the second superpower waiting on the wings. And I think if this rapprochement comes with China, it will save huge resources of India, and India will take its rightful place as the second superpower from Asia. Because this confrontation, the containment of China will not work. I think they have to be together.
I agree with you. I agree with you. But then you see one thing, Rashed, that the two superpowers in Asia, India's GDP now is about $3+ trillion, and they are going to be 4 or 5 in the near future. So they'll be nowhere near China, but then about China is 5 times bigger than India. But then we shouldn't forget that as late as 1980, Chinese GDP was as good as India's. So in the past 20 plus 20, 42 years, China has zoomed up where they are today. So yes, your optimism is shared by me, but then we have to wait and see. But then when you say two superpowers, history does not say that the two hegemons can live together. So one has to say, well, I agree. The other has to say, all right, I'll allow to agree. So let us live together.
There are different kind of analysis. About the Kishore Mahabani, his latest book, Has China Won? In that, the analysis is, according to him, that the China will be number 1 superpower, number 2 will be India, and America will be number 3.
Well, America is, of course, strategically it is going to be the superpower. Strategically, economically may not be. But then it's an interesting phenomenon that we are going to watch in the future. Like when you talk about BIMSTEC, we also talk about, yes, China and India, of course, but then the Pacific Rim, Pacific situation, Indo-Pacific Ocean. So that's another factor that cannot be divorced from the question of BIMSTEC or China-India relationship.
You're absolutely right. But the COVID, post-COVID and the Ukraine conflict, this has brought totally a new situation, with the supply chain, with the grain, with everything, with Russia having control over the gas as well as the oil, as well as the sanction is not working. So there's a lot of pressure on the Westerners not to send so much weapons, but to go for diplomacy.
In any case, I agree with you.
The war has to come to an end.
We are waiting for some more surprises to come.